thank you very much for this opportunity. We feel very privileged and blessed to be asked to share what's been going on up here, and for all you saints to be praying together in this situation that we're facing. So just a correction, we've been pastoring here for 30 years. And yep, so we've been in Coromandel for 40 years. And so we know the town and the outlying district very well. I think that we're classified as locals now, so that's quite helpful. So just getting back to the events we're facing now and what's happened leading up to this latest cyclone. Last spring, leading up to Coromandel, to Christmas, was particularly wet, and it was good for the farmers. We got lots of grass growth, so we've got lots of animals that are all very well fed, walking around the hills, but the rain just really hasn't stopped except for that few days between Christmas and New Year. So we've had quite a significant amount of water now. January was exceptionally wet, and in fact from the end of December to the 28th of January, Coromandel itself had 1.1 metres of rain. And it's a bit like Hokitika, I suppose. They get a lot of rain down that way too, don't they? So, but it's been significant weather events for us. And so that was over a period of 30 days. There's a place on the 309 road, because the peninsula, I don't know if you've been here, it's quite narrow. So we've got the eastern seaboard and the western seaboard. We're on the western seaboard. And so you can just drive over. It's only about half an hour drive from one side to the other. And partway across on one of the roads is a place called Castle Rock, and they must have a good person there monitoring the weather rain gauges, and Castle Rock had 253 millimetres of rain over a 24-hour period. And so this year so far, not including what we've got right now, we've had over 1.5 metres of rain now. Must be nudging 2 metres, I would think. And to be quite honest, that's a lot of water. On the 27th of January, I had a funeral to take in Thames, which is an hour and a half drive south of where we live here in Waititi Bay. And that was just the start of the last weather event. And we weren't sure if we were going to get down there, let alone get back. And there was a lot of rain, and through the service for the funeral, the rain got heavier and heavier, and at the end of it, a lot of people decided to pull the pin and we need to get home. And we came back through the entrance to Coromandel, and there was a lot of surface water, and there was flooding, and we managed to get through, but yeah, it was very, very tricky. On the 29th of January, we were able to get past a big slip, which is in between where we live and Coromandel town. So that was a Sunday. We had to go in for church, and on the slip, the road was closed for 6 days, as Colin was mentioning earlier. And the workers did a fantastic job, but it was just down to one lane, and we had to negotiate going through this yellow, thick porridge. And that was a bit of an interesting journey, that was for sure. Anyway, we got into church, and we had church, and we got back before the slip started coming down again. And so it's just been slip after slip. The contractors, they clear them, and then they come down again. There's a lot of material up above the slips, and it just keeps on coming down. And it's just like porridge when we get this heavy rain, and the rain is just picking up again right now. So where we live here in Waititi Bay, there's been slips on the entrance to our road as well. And we've got a community group that's a Facebook group, and they got together, and a WhatsApp group, and got together, and we had to clear some slips on our road because the contractors just were putting it on down the priority, so it wasn't high importance to them, but we needed to be able to get in and out. So we donned our gumboots and got shovels and wheelbarrows, and we were shoveling this thick Coromandel clay, and yeah, we did that for about an hour, I think. So
a couple of hours probably.
Couple of hours.
And there's probably about 10 of us. So yeah, it was just as well. It was a lot of us because it was very heavy clay.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, we got it down to, so we cleared it to one lane, which was great. So these are just some of the things that we, people in Coromandel and the outlying district here face in events like this. And it's not uncommon, except for what we're experiencing right now. This is just one out of the box, that's for sure. There's a little community in between where we live and Coromandel. It's probably 10 minutes north of Coromandel township. It's called Kopatauki. It's a little Maori settlement. It's got a marae there, and I don't know if it's been on the news. Coromandel town seems to miss the what's happening on the news. It goes to Whitianga and other places generally, but up in the headwaters of a stream above Kopatauki, there was what they term or call a debris dam, and it was all this debris came down into this valley, and it became a dam, and it blocked all this water up. It was about the size, they reckon, of a rugby football field, and it was about a metre deep. And it put all of the homes and the marae below it at risk. So last Monday, 7 days ago, they brought in a helicopter with a monsoon bucket, and they were dropping, filling the monsoon bucket with water from the dam, and they were dropping it onto the debris that had blocked the flow of the river, to try and just gently allow more water to go through so it would remove the risk. It was semi-successful, but there's still a lot of water. And even as I speak now, there's a contractor, he's probably sleeping in his vehicle at the bridge there, and he's just got a stop-go signal for any traffic that's going through there. So 7 houses have been evacuated there because they're at risk. And obviously there are other homes that are evacuated. There's one down in Thames coast, and today I see that this old fellow, his house has slipped off its tiles, and so he's got no home to go back to. And so this is an issue that some families are facing, and yeah, there's a lot of concern, obviously, and for some people, a lot of fear. My main concern at this point is for that debris dam, because they were talking about getting the army in at one stage, but I don't believe that has happened at this point. But that's putting this marae and all of these homes in this little Maori settlement at risk. So prayer for that would be really, really appreciated. They reckon that there's about 10,000 cubic metres of water in it, which is a bit of water. You may have heard the mayor of the TCDC, which is the Thames Coromandel Coal District Council, has extended the state of emergency. Yeah, everything is on high alert here. There's lots of flooding on the eastern seaboard, on the Whitianga side, with the storm surges from this low. The wind gusts have been up to and over 130 kilometres per hour. Last night, we didn't get much sleep at our place. We're perched on a knob, and we didn't get much sleep. The wind comes down the hills, these easterlies, like a freight train, hits the house, and the whole house shakes. And you can't really sleep through that unless you don't mind that sort of noise. Today we went down and cleared the drive, because we've got a 300-metre long drive, and we had to clear the debris from the water tables. And my dear wife and I, we walked down again this evening to just check everything, and lo and behold, there are 2 big trees have been snapped off and across the drive, so we can't get out of our property now. So I'm waiting for fairer weather so I can get a chainsaw out and clear those trees away. But yeah, it's going to take a few hours to do that. So it's pretty wet up here. A lot of people are concerned, but the community is rallying together. And even in town, they've got one of the cafes is putting on free food for families that are really isolated and have got no way of cooking. But now the power's back on, so we're grateful for that. So the other thing is that the summer holiday season has been non-existent for our businesses. I don't know, Rosemary, did you want to say anything about that?
It's all right. You're doing well.
Oh, okay. All right. So Coromandel is really a tourist town destination, and a lot of the businesses here rely heavily on the tourism trade to get them through the winter leaner months, and that's been non-existent this year. And so a number of businesses are really, really struggling in that regard. So it would be good to have prayer for these people.